Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at industrysyndicate.com and mindshare101.com. This week's episode is sponsored by Kits Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 46. He is a Toronto native and has been in the sales and service industry for 25 years. Soon after deciding to try his hand in real estate, he co-founded the REC, and in the course of 15 years has successfully propelled his team to the third place position in Canada under Roy LePage. With 32 realtors and 8 support staff, the team advises and assists over 700 buyers, sellers, and investors yearly across the Greater Toronto Area. His area of expertise is in helping investors build out their real estate portfolios. And wanting to share his knowledge and experience with the masses, he wrote a book titled Real Estate Intelligence, which teaches others how to buy or sell real estate on their own. Today on the Mindshare Podcast, I am joined by another member of the Industry Syndicate, Mr. Jas Takhar. Now, I do have to say that, when you're doing live stuff and, once in a while with technology, you can forget to hit buttons, and I happen to forget to hit the record button till we were about 3 or 4, maybe 2 minutes, I don't even know, a few minutes in. Anyhow, we're going to pick this up a couple moments in, and this is how I started the whole thing. I said, so you've been selling real estate for 15 years now. When you got started, what did you do to market yourself at first, and where did you get your first deal from? As I said, we're going to pick this up a couple moments in.
Say that because I come across a lot of agents and they say, okay, I know a lot of people, but that's not what's really important. It's how many people how many people actually know your name and what you do. And so
we call that mind share, bro.
List. Exactly, right? And so I got on the phone and just told people about me starting in the real estate business. I actually even let people know, look, I'm new, but at that time I had partnered up with a mentor of mine at that time who had started REC back about 15 years ago. And so that's that. The first thing I did was get on the phone and call people. And that's how the first deal came about as well. Yep. It was someone who actually introduced me to their friend.
It's amazing, man, because and we both talk with realtors all the time. Where does your business come from? What are you doing to get out there and do your stuff? And I mean, in today's world of tech and everything else and all this podcasting and video and everything, there's a lot of people that get in this business. They believe like this is it. This is all you have to do to build your business. Have a Facebook page, get out there and promote a whole bunch of listings and open houses. And, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be rich. And I call bullshit. Like that's not the way it goes, right? We know that's
because they see agents and mortgage brokers, very similar businesses. They see them driving in the Mercedes Benzes and BMWs and the nice suits. But it's not about just starting a podcast and a Facebook page or an Instagram page. It really is belly to belly. In fact, I laugh sometimes when I hear agents say, well, I don't want to do anything from an online perspective because it's all belly to belly. Like I only want to focus on belly to belly. From an online perspective, you actually want to start branding yourself online, which will then get you in front of more people face to face. So it's the combination of both, in my opinion.
You know what, and I agree with you completely, is you cannot discount any of that. And I think that's one of the biggest messages I try to deliver on a regular basis, like through the Mindshare podcast, the Mindshare Challenge, whatever, is you got to mix the old with the new, right? We have so much advantage to take advantage of this tech. It can 100 times your audience like this, right? At the same time, you cannot only rely on the tech, you've got to get belly to belly. So it's like, what do you do to really take that, put it all together? So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm going to say I know the answer to this, but I just want to hear your opinion on it. I think I know where you're going to go with it. But where does a realtor's primary source of business come from? People they know or people they don't know?
Well, I think it's from the people that they don't know, right? Okay. It's going to be from, and here's what I mean by that. It starts with the people you know, but at the end of the day, you can only do so many deals with people that you know. It then goes to the people that they know. So if you know, if the average person knows 200 people, and so your network now is actually 40,000 strong. because the average person's going to know 200 people that knows 200 people that knows 200 people.
Right.
And so if you can start to build relationships with your sphere of influence with those 200 people, and I'm talking about events, online, phone calls, emails, newsletters, hard like newsletters in snail mail, that still works really well. It's a matter of who they're going to introduce you to. Because after a couple of years, the average person moves like, what is it now? I think the turnover rate like every 5 years is probably closer to 6, 7 years now. And so you're not going to get that many deals out of that 200 people, but it's actually that who knows, like who do they know and who do they introduce you to?
Okay, so still, it's not. I mean, when we say people you don't know, the reality is you're going after the people you do know. You're getting the
Yes.
phone call, the connection with them, and they're introducing you to people you don't know.
Yes.
Okay, which then comes back to boil down to the fact that most people are getting business from essentially people they do know, introducing them to other people, which now gives us the really drops the hammer on how important it is to have a contact list in this business.
I mean, look, if someone's listening or watching right now, David, and they don't have some type of CRM, just stop and get out of the business. Like, what are you doing? Like, how, like, that's so 2005. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You need a CRM.
What do you mean? But this is not my CRM. I can't just use this. Like, just have like my phone book.
No. Well, as long as you have an app that maybe is on that
right.
phone, then you're fine. But an Excel spreadsheet won't do you justice. You can start there when you build it up, but you need some type of software to remind you about one of your clients' birthdays, the closing, their anniversary. We actually take it really far. So out of that 8 support staff that you mentioned, one of my guys, his name is Tyler. He's actually our director of real estate concierge services. And so what his role is to make 50 outbound calls a day to our warm list.
I love it.
Out of the 50, he probably connects with 30 to 35 people a day. He has some, some of his calls might go 30, 40 minutes. But he starts the call with this, David. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Client. It's Tyler calling from REC. I'm the director of real estate concierge services here. Is there anything that you might need from a real estate perspective, like a plumber, electrician? Maybe you need someone to read over your lease agreement on your investment property. We're not asking, hey, do you know somebody who's thinking about buying or selling in the next 6 months? Like, I get the old school, how that might work, but we're not starting with that because that's see, when people do that, it's always about themselves.
Right.
We're making the call and saying, hey, what can we do to help you?
Right. How are you giving help out there? What kind of value are you giving to people, right? I'm calling to help you with something. Can I help you?
Yes.
Right?
And some of our clients will say, okay, great. Like, but how much does it cost for you to put me in touch with an electrician? There's no cost. That's just a value add service that we provide. But now that I have you on the phone, did you have an appetite for an investment property?
To me, we call that trusted advisor, right? Being the person that they're going to call, or that when you call them or they call you, when they're thinking about needing anything, if they think about you, you've become the right person. You've, what I coined the term as, you've built the mind share. People are going to refer you. They're going to use you again. You're putting yourself in the right place at the right time, even though you don't really know when that time comes.
So in 2019, start from January to now, so we're almost at the end of October. We've done 200, we don't call them appointments or meetings. We just like it more laid back because we are, like you see me in a t-shirt right now.
Yeah.
We're very relaxed here. We've done 200 coffees since the start of the year.
Love it.
Okay. Now, those outbound calls that Tyler has made. So I hope somebody who's watching or listening, this is something that they do right away. Like, start making these calls and use the exact same script I just gave you. Okay, that alone has brought us approximately 30 transactions this year. It's about like 28 to be exact.
Yeah.
Just by making those outbound calls.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's too simple, right? But I don't have the time, and I don't want to take them for coffee because I got other things I got to do. The same shit we always hear from people, right?
All the time. Look, I mean, from a scheduling perspective, I think from 8:30-ish in the morning to about noon, I would make I wouldn't make any appointments outside of the office or your home office, wherever you work. During the day, you should be setting up the rest of your day. So after 1 o'clock, you get, at 12:30, get a bite to eat. Then go to your showings and offer appointment. 9 to 12 every single day. Take Sunday off, whatever day you want to take off. But those 3 hours is like brushing your teeth. You have to make those calls. You have
Dude,
have to.
that's
Make
what
those
I
calls.
say about the contact list is before you get up and brush your teeth this morning, get yourself a freaking contact list, right? Especially the people that are new in the business.
For sure.
It's imperative. So tell me this then, the REC, what is, and I want to get to the REC experience in a moment, but what is the REC just so everybody understands that?
So REC is essentially a brokerage within a brokerage. REC stands for Real Estate Center.
Mm-hmm.
Myself and my business partner now of 15 years, we manage a team of 32 realtors, as you mentioned in the introduction. We help buyers, sellers, and investors. When I say it's kind of a brokerage within a brokerage, we're actually housed under the umbrella of Royal LePage Signature,
Right.
which is in the Don Mills and Lawrence area, really like about a 10-minute drive north of downtown Toronto for your out-of-province listeners. And we do approximately 700 transactions a year. That is a combination of buyers, sellers, and investors. And that's in total with our 32 realtors.
That's awesome.
And out of the 700, I'm going to say about 250 approximately are specifically with investors through pre-construction condo investing.
So you guys doing a lot of the condo stuff and getting people sort of involved in doing that and getting into
the
because
it's a fantastic way to make money as an investor, because your down payment structure of 20% is laid out over a 2-year period. And so myself and my partner, we started investing into pre-construction condos, probably back about 7 years ago. And as we started making money, like ourselves, we're like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like, why don't more people know about this? So then we started to make our relationships with the developers to make sure that we got first access pricing, because you can get, like, once the public knows about a condo, it's too late. The increases in prices have already been made. And so we like to make sure that we get the first access pricing. The reason we like to work under the Royal LePage Signature, just to kind of put a bow on that, under the umbrella of Royal LePage Signature, is because, look, we don't have the headache. We used to have our own brokerage, but no longer do we have the headache of worrying about who's answering the calls at the front desk, the accounting, the trust accounts, and the checks and the deposits. We worry about we only focus on what we're good at, which is sales and marketing.
Right. And I actually recall many years ago when you guys were separate or prior to the Royal LePage thing, and then getting in, and not for anything, the guys that you're with over there at Signature, you're with the powerhouse of a brokerage, right? So I'm sure you've got all the services and all the stuff you need over there, right?
Yeah, so, like the two brothers are just like top
good
shelf.
Guys.
They're
absolutely,
top man. The Slido brothers are amazing. Yeah,
and they've been running a good ship. I know the office out in Mississauga, they do a good job with that as well. So from the REC then, from that, when you talk about the amount of people you guys are helping on a regular basis, right? And I guess this question kind of comes geared towards next week, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be at Kathleen Black's Ultimate Team Summit in Niagara Falls. She's a friend of mine. She's but she works with real estate teams. That's what she does. So part of that is, there's a lot of listeners and a lot of people within my network that either are on a team, want to start a team, run a team, whatever it is. Why have the team? What is the thing behind that? You see, because here, now I'll just even give you this one too. You talk about the headache about having your own brokerage. You've got a team. You got to manage people. You got to make sure they're staying busy. They're staying to task. You're training them the way your culture is. Why have it versus not have it, or maybe vice versa? Maybe you're sitting back going, dude, to anybody listening, don't start one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, look, I think the main reason that we wanted to start a team is because what we were doing, we knew that to do more, it started with just support staff, to be honest with you, because we couldn't scale what we were doing. Like, there's only so many hours in a day. And so then agents would call us and say, hey, do you guys mind coaching us? Or like, what's some of your systems? And I'm like, okay, now that we're, if you're joining this office, you might as well, and you want a little bit more support, we can offer you that. I actually think if you're new in the business, you should join a team right away, in my opinion, because you'll be in the culture. You'll be, you learn by osmosis, right, David? Like, so if you can be in the conversation daily, because the real estate business can get lonely. And so if you're not around people talking real estate, and I don't care if it's something about a contract to like a buying, like even like an agreement of purchase and sale, to a listing, to anything to do with real estate, you want to be in the conversation. And so when you're part of a team, hopefully the team meets on a weekly basis, or there's someone around, like at our office, either myself or my business partner. We have a director of sales and marketing. One of us are generally around at the Don Mills office or the Mississauga location. So the culture to us was something that we just wanted to build, and we're competitive. And so myself and my business partner, we put some goals on the whiteboard about a decade ago, and we said, look, we're going to be the #1 team in the world at one point.
Love it, dude.
And so we're competitive people, and now we're going to work our way towards that.
I love it. No, that's wicked. And I think that's great advice for everybody, because that is one thing that I say to people as well that are brand new in the biz, outside of, before you brush your teeth, make sure you build a contact list, is find somebody you can mentor from. Find somebody you can learn from. Go and get driven by them. Learn what they do. Find the best top dog in your office or the city or whatever. Go and be their wingman for a little bit, right? Figure out what they're up to and how
and be okay to do it for free.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It all comes back around, right?
And like, David, if I look back to some of the mentors I had in this business and a previous business I was in, I probably would have paid them. Like, no. Like now.
But I hear you. No, I get what you're saying.
I would have wrote a check to have been around them, because I still execute on thoughts that and ideas that they gave me back then. But what I was actually able to see, like, that was the biggest thing for me, right? So I couldn't agree with you more, my man. Like, if you're just getting into the business, please, like, strongly consider working for somebody for free. Like, get them the coffee. Like, start there. Start with getting them a coffee. Start, like, maybe just you're going to be around just to greet their clients, whatever it is. Because if you're in the conversation, or even if you're just a fly on the wall while they're in conversations with clients, this is a no-brainer.
You're so
like it would be, bro. You'll learn so much more rather than trying to do this on your own. It's nearly impossible.
Speaking of and learning from you, and I know based on timing, I've got somewhere I want to go with this whole thing around content. But we did have a question come in from somebody who's with us live here, saying because when you referenced your 3 hours in the office in the morning, they asked, are you making cold calls for those 3 hours, or are you calling your contacts? What are you doing for 3 hours? And I want to give a quick answer to that one, so I want to get to a point that we wanted to get to today. But are you doing that? Like, are you cold calling for 3 hours? You calling your contacts for 3 hours? Are you organizing the office?
I thought you wanted to answer it first, David. Yeah,
no, sorry.
It's all warm. It's all warm. Now, I'm built a little differently, and I appreciate the question in terms of I spend all my time in the office. Because now I have a team, I don't show properties anymore. I haven't shown a property in 3-4 years. So what I do is I spend all my hours here at the office, because I know we're going to talk about the content. And so that's something that takes up a lot of my time, but I enjoy it. It's my passion. It's my third child. And so I actually will only speak with warm clients. I don't get a lot of, other than cold business coming in, I don't do cold calling. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Yep. Like in fact, when you're starting, again, it goes back to that, what I was saying earlier, stay in the conversation, because if you don't do something, door knock, cold call, whatever it is, then the business will get lonely and you just won't do anything. So, but myself, I only deal with warm clients.
For all of my Mindshare challenges that are listening, and Jas, we're in the middle of our 8-week Mindshare challenge right now, and I've shared this into my group today because I sound like a broken record to them now after 3 weeks of sort of repeat. So thank you, because you are definitely sort of echoing a lot of the stuff I've been saying to people. So to all of my people, yeah. Anyways, moving on. You wrote a book.
David, I mean, look, and just really quickly, like in terms of like lead generation, guys, like there's other ways even that, like if you don't have enough people in your warm list and you don't want to cold call or door knock, here's a great tip that works really well for me. And I used to do it a lot like a decade ago, but now I've built this. Get out to other business like service providers. So we all know the lawyer, the mortgage broker, and the insurance broker, the guys who are directly tied to a transaction. Everyone goes to that. Like everyone builds that team. But I'm talking about everyone else that you could think of that would need business. Not from a real estate perspective only, guys. I'm talking about I just got a fresh haircut. So the barber.
Dude, did you see my Instagram stories today? I was there as well. I took a picture of him. You know how much business my hairdresser sends me?
That's what I'm talking about.
Hairdresser connecting a marketing guy with a real estate or a mortgage broker.
See, and I know enough of you, David, that you're not going there and asking necessarily. You're trying to go and give. You're trying to give him business. You know, it's the old adage, right? Like, if I buy you coffee 3-4 times, chances are you won't even let it get to 3-4 times. But the third, fifth time, you're going to be like, Jas, put your wallet away, dude. It's like, allow me to pay for it.
Reciprocity.
It's the same way with business, right? Like, you give enough business to somebody who does some type of service in the house, a plumber or an electrician. At the end of they're going to give you business back, but don't go to get, go to give.
It's about helping people. So you wrote a book, speaking of helping people, and you wrote this book.
Yeah.
I haven't had the chance to read it just yet, and I'd like to. I'd really like to get my hands on a copy of that. Do you have that as an audiobook at all, or no?
Yes, I do have it as an audiobook. I'll send you a link.
Dude, my ADD kicks in. To sit down and read a book, I'm going to have problems, but to listen to it, I'll be locked in 100%.
If there's any of your listeners or viewers that want a copy, just somehow message David and I'll get a copy sent out. There's no cost for it.
You're the man.
But yeah, we were getting a lot of the same questions over and over again from buyers, sellers, and investors. And so we thought, look, I mean, we're answering the same questions. Like, we all know, right? Anybody who's been in the business for a while, like, how many things come up in a purchase, right? It's generally the same stuff. Like, you want to make it conditional on financing, on a home inspection, and then how does the deal close? All of that. So this page, it's about 120 page guide, 115 pages, and we actually teach sellers in this book. There's a chapter on how to sell your own home. So now, if there's an agent listening, they might.
You guys hear that? He's an agent, and he's telling you how to do it without him. Talk about helping people, right?
Yeah. And so
now, at the end of the day, I don't advise anybody does it by themselves. I think you should seek a professional's help.
But here's the thing, David. So and for anybody who's listening, think about this, right? Right across the nation, how many FSBOs actually sell on their own? 2%? Maybe? Let's just go 2%. Gotcha. So why are we all worried about the 2%? Let's focus on the 98% of people that always use a realtor.
Yeah. And will always use a realtor.
And will always use a realtor.
Yes.
So this became the best business card that we had.
Okay.
And so I actually don't even have really business cards. I keep, 30 of these in my car, and there's hundreds around my office here. And anyone who comes into contact with us will leave with this book. And I can tell you 98% of people won't even read it. However, they leave like, okay. These guys are a little. Yeah, but they'll leave. They leave the conversation or the coffee with, okay, these guys are a little different. And so we always wanted to find ways that we could stand out. And the book really did that for us.
Okay, so now I was going to ask you, is there ROI in writing a book? And I imagine, I think that answer goes without saying. You've obviously found a ton of ROI. However, it's not through book sales. This is through the again, reciprocity and helping people and how that comes back to serve you at the end.
There's karma, but to answer your question, I mean, I don't even know what the numbers are. Like, the ROI is, a friend of ours, Gary V, always says, what's LeBron's ROI, right? Like on a basketball kind of thing. It's the same thing, right? Like this just gives us the credibility. So when I go into, or when one of my team members go into a listing appointment, this gets sent to them 2 days before the client. When a buyer is about to meet with us, we send this a day before to their home with a couple of mugs because they're going to have a coffee with us. It's just stacking the cards in our favor. So when Joe Blow Realtor meets with them, we hope that we've given some value up front already. And does it work all the time? No, you're not going to get everyone, but it's a number. You got to do it consistently and over a long period of time. And I can tell you that it's definitely, we hand this book to people, and the first thing they say is wow. And so what we're always looking for in our office and in our team is how many wows can we get from our client.
And you know what, dude? And it's funny because I bring this back to the old Wayne Gretzky thing of like, if you don't shoot, you can't score type idea, right? And you're never going to score 100% of the shots you take. So what kind of percentage or how many goals do you want? Let's look at our percentages. There's only going to be so much percentage you're going to hit. So
Yeah,
how many more shots do you need to take on a regular basis, right?
for
So
sure.
I'm with you, man. Like it's not so much, and people ask me about this. From the direct mail, because I mean, Kits we're heavy into that stuff. Like we do a kick-ass job, but it's one channel. You know, all the social
Yeah.
media, and I like you, podcasting, video. What's the ROI? Well, that's just another channel, right? Speaking of people, presentations on the stage. What is the ROI? It's another channel. All I'm doing is building positive mind share with people, right?
Well,
And
look, sorry,
yeah,
not to cut you off, David. You
no,
mentioned that I'm getting on a train. I'm getting up with myself and my business partner, director of sales, and my videographer. So we have content. So I'm going to Montreal right now in the next an hour or so, and I'm going to be speaking to 30 investors, 25 investors. And so I'm going to be spending with our hotels and our trains and all that food. We're going to go and have fun. We're going to be there for 2 nights. So like, why aren't we, I actually tried to get to a Canadians game, but they're actually playing the Leafs on Saturday.
go Leafs, go. Just
obviously, we're coming back on Friday, but it's going to cost us, I don't know, $4 or $5 grand.
Easy.
By the time it's all said and done. But I know with speaking with 30 investors, I'm not going there to sell anything. I'm going there to educate them about the Toronto real estate market and how investors, this topic's going to be on what strategies we see investors make money on. They might not buy something for 3-4 months. I can tell you, because I've been doing that for 10 years, they'll end up buying.
Yeah.
Right?
But it'll take time.
It's going to take time. I'm just going to plant the seed.
Right.
That's all I'm doing is I'm just planting the seed. That's it.
And so here, taking that and sort of playing off of the other things you're doing out there. When it comes to the REC, you've also got the REC experience.
Yeah.
And I would say that is even part of planting the seed, right?
Oh, for sure. Like,
tell us more. What is the REC experience like? Just for everybody that's listening. And by the way, I've already got a few people that are asking for your book, so I'm going to make sure I take a list and I'll get that to you.
Send it out. Just make sure they give you a mailing address, and 100%. We'll mail it out. We'll take care of everything. So
for all of you that have, I will connect with you guys, or DM me, send me your address. This way, if you don't want to post in the comments, and I'll get that off to Jas for us.
Awesome. So REC Experience podcast started about a year and a half ago.
Is that all?
Only about a year and a half ago.
Love it, man.
It was just really a thought. I believe I was kind of self-aware at that time, where I wasn't really that comfortable in front of the camera, and being in sales and service for a very long time, and 4 years of that 25 years in sales and service was spent on the phones. And so I was very comfortable on the phone. And I was like, what is this podcast thing? And I'm Googling it. I'm like, so, okay, you don't have to tape anything. You just got to put a mic on. I was like, I'm pretty good on the phone. I could do this. So the first 17 episodes, so we're at we've done about 82 episodes now. So the first 17 episodes were all real estate related. How to buy a home, who do you need on your team, how to, like, financing, all real estate, home inspections. I got a little bored of it, though, around 15, 16 episodes, because I'm like, how long can I keep on talking about what you need to do when you buy, sell, and invest? Sat down with my executive producer, and she asked me a pretty cool question. She's like, Jas, what other passions do you have? I was like, well, sports. I love basketball, hockey, football. Like, I can go on. I probably can have a podcast on just football, like NFL, because I'm such a fan of it. However, I was like, nah, that's not something that I would really want to do. I wouldn't want to mix that with real estate. There's really no tie. I didn't really see it at that time. And I said, entrepreneurship is something that I'm very passionate about. Like you, I don't read either. So I listen to audiobooks, and I don't really have a formal education, David. So everything that I know is through personal education, through books, seminars. I was like, look, the leaders in the world have taught me a lot. I've learned from the Anthony Robbins, the Gary V's, the Jack Canfields, the Malcolm Gladwells. I was like, what if I can meet with other guests, and listeners and viewers can be a fly on the wall to the conversations we're having? I think that's valuable. What I started to notice, probably now at episode 30, 35, really quickly after we made the switch, is that entrepreneurs and real estate purchasers and investors, they're actually quite similar, because it all comes down to taking a leap of faith and just taking action. right? And so the tie was really interesting at that time. And then we started, we actually put the cameras on, and then I started to build out a team. And so now we're on YouTube. You can find us on any podcast platform. We got in touch with the boys in the States with Industry Syndicate, reached out. That's how we all got connected. And then it just took on a life of its own, right? Like now I probably get about 8 to 10 DMs, texts, emails a week about new leads that even come. Like now people just want to sit with us and talk to us about either entrepreneurship. It's not always real estate, but I'm going to say 75% of the time it's either a real estate agent that's thinking about joining our team, or an actual purchaser, seller, or investor. And they come to us because we brought them the value ahead of time.
Right. And there's the key back to, and there's that underlying theme we've had through this whole, however many minutes we've been together now, is the value you're giving to people, right? And the fact that you have to stick it out and be consistent. We've got so many people out there because of, again, the Facebooks and the Instas and the YouTubes and the this and the that think they want to get into content strategies, think they want to be a content provider, maybe even start to do it. They don't find that groove, and then they give up on it. They're not consistent about it. What have you found it takes? Because I know I can tell you for myself, like the dedication, the time management that goes into it, the brain power that you've got to put towards, who are my guests, or what is my content? What message am I going to deliver? Not just, we could just turn on the microphone and talk, and I can definitely do it 100%. Mm-hmm. At the same time, too, I want to make sure that my listeners and viewers are getting a ton of value. Everybody listening right now, that you're getting a ton of value, that you come back next time, that you could take something from today and be able to actually better yourself right away, right? That's my goal.
So, to that point, David, you have a natural talent. You don't need you give me the respect by maybe making some notes and seeing where you want to take this conversation. But you're right. You and I could literally just turn on the mics and have a conversation about all things real estate. I can talk to you about the Leafs and we can go crazy like that.
Yep.
I think for somebody who's watching or listening who wants to produce content, the first step, in my opinion, is which medium are you comfortable with? Because you might not be comfortable. Like I was not comfortable with the camera. Now I have videographers around me all the time. I actually like it. Like I like the sound of my own voice. I like the video camera.
He said it.
My own. Yeah, it's the truth.
I love it, bro. I love the honesty, brother. I love it.
And so, but I think of my director of sales and marketing, who's also the executive producer, Laura Stewart. A lot of people have seen her. She co-hosts with me as well. Her passion was writing. And so she chose, and that comes very natural to her. And so I would say choose, like the first thing you want to do is choose the medium that's going to come most natural to you and where it doesn't seem like work. Now, some weeks, like we air a podcast episode every Wednesday. Yeah. Is there weeks where it's like, okay, this feels like work? Yeah, after a year and a half. But maybe there's been like 2 weeks like that over a year and a half time. Like I look forward to it. I wake up in the morning and I think about my sales, like what clients I have to meet. But then, I get a free second, David. It's all about the content because I love it that much.
I know, man.
I so like being, as I said, I like being in front of the camera and the mic, but don't ever get me to write anything.
Okay. Interesting. Cool.
So I cannot write, like probably the most I write in an email is in the body. I apologize, in the subject line. I don't even write in the body as much anymore because I can't read long emails either.
I know.
And so I wouldn't tell anyone to focus on a medium that they're not comfortable with. So what did I do? I hired a copywriter because I knew it was important. So I hired a copywriter to do something that I just do not like doing. Like my grammar sucks. Like I'm just not a good writer at all.
Okay, so here's that.
I hired a copywriter.
We've really, beat it with the stick about the why we do this, right? And it really comes back to providing value and helping people. So we've got the why. When it comes to the how, you just mentioned you've got a team of people. I on the other hand, I've got my team that here helps me run the Mindshare Challenge and helps me run kits and everything else. But when it comes to my content, I'm really the guy that's putting this whole shebang together, right?
That's awesome.
For most of the people, but I'm also not taking it to the level where you're taking it with the videographer and everything else. And it's not for one reason or the other, but I guess the reason I bring that up is to say for the people that are listening and watching and that are thinking or are starting to do, right? Do they need an entire team around them? Like,
No.
that's going to scare the shit out of some people going, wait a second, I can't compete with this guy. He's got all these people, and there's a lot of money that's probably goes into that stuff. Naturally, it's just business, right? What do people really require, just from a brief standpoint there, of the
smartphone,
how to start this whole thing up?
Smartphone. You just need your phone.
That's how I started.
And a headset. That's it. Like with a mic.
Dude, I literally did my first video. It was me like this. I had one of these headsets plugged into the phone. I was walking through a grocery store at Longo's. You could hear the carts pushing around and jingling the music, and it was freaking horrible. Message was pretty good because it seemed to actually resonate with people. But this is me.
Because it was authentic too. It was authentic, right?
That's the thing, man.
In fact, I think sometimes what I've done in terms of hiring everyone in the post-production and all that, it's somewhat like now it's hard for me to come out with just an authentic video, exactly with the smartphone, because people are used to it all being post-produced. I actually had a lot more fun, and it was a lot easier when I was just doing everything
for sure, right? Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I've got the Mac, and I remember the first video I tried to literally edit the whole thing on the Mac, and holy geez, man, the video was like 60 seconds, 90 seconds. It was taking me hours. And I said, forget it. I went and downloaded a quick app on here. I can do everything I need with it, and I can post that thing out to all my social platforms. And again, I'm not going to bullshit. It doesn't take just 2 minutes. It takes a little bit of time, but I don't need all this extra stuff. And again, it's if you want it, it's one thing. If you don't want it, that's okay too. But the idea is, for anybody that wants to get into it, you literally just need this thing.
That's
then enough nerve to do it and enough drive to stay consistent with it.
And here's the thing. You can always hire help that's not expensive. I started with interns, unpaid interns. Now, somebody who's watching or listening is thinking, well, how am I going to get somebody? What am I going to give back in return? Well, you better, before you look to go get an intern unpaid, you better have some value to give back to them, because they're not going to stick around.
Right.
But to take it to the next level, if you hire an 18-year-old kid, all the stuff that you just spoke about, David, an 18-year-old kid, generally speaking, can do it in their sleep.
I know, it's crazy.
You don't need to hire them full time. So I went from unpaid interns to part-timers and then full-timers. And when I did part-timing, it was like 1 day a week, 3 days a week, and then 5 days a week. Take the baby steps. I never just hired everyone and said, let's go. No, it was never like that. I grew into it. Or at times I grew out of
absolutely.
So 2 people couldn't handle it anymore. So I needed to bring on somebody else. Talking about the money in the business part. Now, for me, I really want to be in this business for another 50, 60 years. So for me, I just need enough money to eat. I have 2 kids. They need to live comfortably. I like to have some fun. I don't buy expensive stuff. I've never been that person, right? Yep. My dad was a taxi driver his whole life. My mom was a factory worker. And so we just didn't spend a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of money to spend. And so I get a paycheck or a commission check, and I take what I know I need just to live, and then the rest goes right back into the business. Because I want this. This is long term for me. Because I know, first of all, I want to hit that goal to be the number 1 team in the world.
Yep.
And that's just what I'm chasing. If I hit it, great. I like the process to get there, and it's fun. I get to talk to David. If I never had that goal, I would never get to talk to you. Why would you want to talk to me, right?
But I hear you man.
Right? And so you can start with baby steps. I had somebody ask me, well, what do I get a videographer from? Well, there's wedding videographers that are generally busy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're not busy on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So they'll work for a lot less than what they would usually charge during the weekend. And so you can do, if you hire them just for the day, 8 hours, do you know how much video you can produce in 8 hours? You can do a lot. And I'm not talking about virtual tour stuff, but just, hey, here's how to buy a home. Here's everything you need to know how to buy a home. You do a 1 hour clip or a 1 hour talk on it, and then clip 15 to 18 pieces out of it. So that's something that we really do well. We'll take a macro piece of content and then
break it down micro pieces, right? You definitely have an impact on people. I've got somebody here who says, I'd called Jas for advice about a couple of months back. Great advice, and I'm still doing what he asked me to do. Say hi to him if you're cool with it. His name is Mir.
What's his name?
Mir Khan.
Oh, Mir.
Yeah,
Yes. Hey, Mir.
wicked
How you
dude,
doing?
wicked
Thanks for
dude.
watching, my man.
Yeah, he said if you're cool with it, please give him a what's up for me. So Mir, there you go, brother, and we appreciate you,
Awesome.
man. We love the fact that you're always tuned in. So let me ask you this,
And
dude.
look,
You just recently interviewed Gary V.
yes, I did.
Or
Yes,
pardon
that
me,
was fun.
pardon me.
Lots of.
Gary V had the good fortune of speaking with you.
Well, I'm glad you said it because I didn't have to say it, you know. So I'm glad you
How'd that
said
come
it.
about, brother? Like, what was the deal there?
Like just being persistent, man. Every single day I DM a bunch of people that seem kind of out of my league to get as a guest, but somebody that I want to get. Gary was someone that inspired me probably a couple of years ago, and the first time I heard what the word podcast was from his mouth, and that's when I started Googling it. And so then I just went into his I went down his rabbit hole, like his YouTube and all his videos and stuff. And then I just DM'd and emailed and private message and Facebook and whatever I could do to try to get a hold of him, and finally made it happen with one of his team members. Went to his office at Hudson Yards. It was cool because while we were going there, I called the developer related who actually helped all of Hudson Yards, and I got the senior vice president. Just I don't know how. Like again, you call people, they put you in touch with someone. You just got to move, right? Momentum will take over.
Do it versus not doing it. Do it instead of just thinking about it, right?
Right, or being like, well, oh my God, or being scared about it. Just do it. Who cares, right? That's my attitude anyway.
I'm with you 100%. Ask. Most people don't ask.
Yeah, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it, right? And so an hour before Gary V, I sat down with the senior vice president of Hudson Yards, which actually happened to be, believe it or not, we did a tour of a $14 million, or was it $14 million? $14 million. I was just asking my co-host here. It was $14 million penthouse. We had no idea. We were just like, there was no plan in place. We did a tour. It hit 100,000 views on YouTube last week. And that was just before we did Gary, right? And so went into Gary's office and did a podcast with him and had a blast, man. He is what you actually see on on video and stuff like that. That's him. Like
that's him.
Every minute of his day is scheduled.
Was he cool? Was he cool to talk to, even off camera? Was he like a down to earth dude or what?
100%, like 100%, very down to earth. It's interesting because I had my director of sales with me and my business partner, and then obviously a videographer. And it's funny, they were saying that he's so respectful and he knows the room so well that he spoke to them more than he did me.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
The reason I say that, kind of to answer your question, is because he actually wanted them to feel comfortable.
Right.
He figured, okay, I'm doing it with Jas. He's kind of the
host.
Instead
of alienating anybody, though, he's inclusive of everybody. Yeah, that's
you know
huge,
what
eh?
he was. Yes, because I'm sure he knew. Okay, Jas probably gets the limelight all the time. Like I'm on this podcast with you, right? And so he made sure that all the others felt good. And so that's just him, man. Just an amazing guy.
That's
amazing
cool,
guy.
bro.
Like straight shooter. Whatever I want to ask, he's cool. Like he just doesn't care. And obviously very, very smart and intelligent. What's actually more surprising is the Vayner office. How easygoing they are there, David. Like they I was in their lunchroom. They're like, hey, start eating food and whatever you want. Yeah, like there's cereal.
Big
here,
place, lots of staff over there.
Lots of staff. I mean, in that office, there's probably 300-400.
Wow.
300 like about 200 for sure. And just so nice, so welcoming. Cool. You could tell it definitely comes. It trickles down from the leader.
He's built a machine there, though.
He definitely has built a machine. Yeah,
I know.
And look, because I get a lot. I always get that question, like, oh my God, how'd you get Gary, and how did you get some of your other guests? Just be consistent and persistent. That's it. Man. Like. Literally just got an email trying to get the mayor of Toronto on. I've been working on this for a year and a half since I started the podcast.
He's coming on?
A year and a half. Still don't have him.
Okay,
but I'm one step closer.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Two days before, like it was booked, he tore his Achilles. So you see the mayor always walking with his boot right now. He tore his Achilles. So 2 days before I had it. So many things have gone wrong. And so many times I've tried to book it, but a year and a half I stuck to it, right? And so that's what I really want people to hear. is whatever you're trying to do, it's not easy, but it shouldn't be. Something worthwhile shouldn't be easy. You need to work your face off.
This guy is dropping knowledge today, bro. I love it, man. So, I mean, obviously, there's no question as to why the boys from the industry syndicate has reached out and sort of, asked REC to be part of that. From that aspect, I guess I just wanted to drop it on everybody that, and I know I mentioned it off the top there, that the REC experience, along with the Mindshare podcast and even Prime, our boy Justin Konikow, Canadian boys, we're all sort of part of the syndicate. Have you checked out the new app yet by chance?
Yeah, I just started playing with it a couple of days ago.
Cool,
I love the fact that people can go to the one spot and just get a buffet of the dream team of podcasters. Like in our industry, it's the place. And if one of your viewers or listeners haven't been there, go download this app. What are you waiting for?
It's free. Just go do it. Go
it's
to Google
free.
Play, Apple Store, whatever. Yeah, go and do it now. 100%, man. I thought it was absolutely awesome. I was pumped about it.
Like one of our listeners, like my listeners, might just listen to yours and not like you, but he might go with Dustin, or vice versa.
Totally.
Be like, I don't like Dustin's voice, but that guy David, man, there's something I connect with him. So it's amazing that you can go to all one place and get such a variety, because you do it a little different than I do.
100%. But that's for me the big deal, right? Because I know for me, if I go to Google or I go to iTunes, like wherever, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it, iHeart, doesn't matter. You go there and you find one podcast. Sometimes it will suggest similar podcasts, but you might not find something you like. Or sometimes you're like, I really love that. What else is in line with that? And then it's difficult to find. And if you don't know the name of podcasts, you're really not going to come up on much.
No.
The beauty about this app is it brings it all together in one place. So it's like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Let me see what else is going on out there. Don't like that guy. I like this guy. I like her. I like whatever. Yeah, I think it's wicked.
Shout out to our boys, Phil, Jason, and Dustin, for putting that together, right? Huge shout out to those guys.
100%, bro. Listen, I know you got a blast. I know you got a train to catch. Just before we take off, and I mean, what parting words do you want to leave with any of our audience, our listeners, anybody watching? I mean, you seriously, dude, you've dropped a ton of knowledge today for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just sort of some parting words for people just before we take off.
Look, find out what makes you happy and then do that. The money will always follow passion. And I think some people have it have it backwards.
Totally.
And so whatever it is, and it might be you got into the real estate business and now you're doing this for a year, 2 years, and this is just not your passion anymore. What would you do for free if we didn't trade in money? And do that. Because then I guarantee, I promise you, and I know it sounds like hokey pokey and philosophical and all that kind of stuff, but I know for a fact that the money will follow, because energy is something, and the right people will come into your life, and the right opportunities will come into your life. But you've got to do what actually makes you happy, not doing something for the money.
Love it, bro. Thank you, man. Where can people find you, Jas?
On Instagram, it's Jas, Jas Takhar, Takhar, number 13. That's my lucky number. Or on any podcast platform, just search REC Experience, and it's the same name on YouTube.
You're the man, bro. I thank you again for your time, man. Thank you. Safe travels to Montreal. And while you get there, go screaming, go Leafs, go as you walk through the subways.
100%, buddy, 100%. Thanks so much, David. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, bro. Be well.
Take care.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to industrysyndicate.com or even mindshare101.com. Or maybe you downloaded our brand new Industry Syndicate app. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for listening.